Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show, Lemon Live at 5. We've got a lot to get to today, so I will not diddle around and say hello and all the other things because I want to get to the folks that we have on the screen right now. So welcome to the show. We come to you tonight streaming with this breaking news. There are two big news stories, in fact, and they are major news stories. First, we have a little over an hour ago, Iran launched what its armed forces are calling a, quote, powerful and destructive missile strike on the United States Al Udeid military base. It's in Qatar, the largest American military installation in the Middle East, serves as a regional headquarters for the U.S. Central Command, and about 10,000 troops are stationed there. Qatar's defense ministry said that its air defense systems successfully intercepted the missile barrage, and fortunately, there were no reported deaths or injuries. What does this all mean? What does this all mean for everyone? Do these strikes ratchet up the tensions in what could be a regional, if not global, war? Or intuitively, could this perhaps mark the end of direct conflict between the U.S. and Iran? I don't know which way it's going to go. Second, we have to discuss the New York City mayoral Democratic primary. Person you're looking at there really rising in the polls. This is a historic heat wave that's here in New York. It's throwing in chaos right now. Governor Kathy Hochul has declared a state of emergency as temperatures in the Big Apple shatter 125-year-old record highs. Holy cow. Who will be hurt? Who will this hurt more? Will it hurt the former governor, Andrew Cuomo, who leads overwhelmingly with older New Yorkers, or Zoran Mamdani, who leads a large but unreliable coalition of younger, low-propensity voters? Okay? So consider this, though. As we tell you to come on the air this evening, for the first time, an Emerson College poll indicated that the 33-year-old Democratic Socialist Mamdani will topple Cuomo in the final round of ranked choice voting. Let's get to it now. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, I want to get to the breaking news that's coming out of Washington, D.C. and what's happening with this attack on Iran. Our chief Washington correspondent, Jolly, is here. Jolly, what's going on? What happened with this strike on the military base in Qatar?
So as you mentioned, obviously, they targeted the U.S. airbase in Qatar. And from what we understand, 14 missiles fired, 13 of them shot down. One missile that we're being told was allowed to go to its destination because it was not going to hit anything. But all of that's coming from Donald Trump's tweet. However, it was confirmed by Qatari news station that they did, in fact, shoot down 13 of the 14. You can see here, this is what Donald Trump put up. I think it was around 4 o'clock. He put this up saying, Iran's officially responded. This entire thing, Don, if I'm just being honest, it's given me this rehearsed propaganda vibe, right? Where Iran responded because they have to. We very publicly struck their nuclear facilities, and so they have to do something. And if everybody will remember, in Trump's first term, when Trump ordered the killing of Qasem Soleimani, Iran responded then as well. The difference is those missiles landed. They targeted U.S. Army military base in Iraq, and those missiles landed, and over 100 soldiers were injured. Many of them reporting traumatic brain injuries, which Donald Trump then brushed off and said that they're just headaches. People are just trumping up headaches, and it wasn't really an injury from the missile attack, but it very much was. But what I want to point out, in 2000, I believe that happened in 2020. I think it was like near the end of his term. When that happened, Trump did nothing about it, and now we're seeing Trump very, very quickly jumping on the opportunity to downplay this so that he doesn't do anything about it. Or doesn't have to do anything about it, doesn't have to respond. So I think what we're going to see come from this is the propaganda machine is going to spin up. See, Trump is our hero. He bombed the nuclear facilities. Iran responded weakly. Nothing happened. And now we're in the clear with this Iran situation, which everyone should know is complete and total BS. We're not.
Jolly, we're going to get back to you in just a moment. We're going to get to our other big news story now. I want to go to Errol Lewis, a friend, former colleague, and I call him the chief political anchor of New York City, but he's a chief political anchor of Spectrum News here in New York. Thank you for joining us. What a crazy situation we're in, Errol, with this. I mean, if you had, maybe a month ago, not even, if you had looked at the polls, you would say, it's Cuomo, it's Cuomo. but not so much right now.
Not so fast. Not so fast. If elected, Andrew Cuomo would be the oldest mayor we've ever had in New York City history. If elected, Zoran Mamdani, his challenger, would be the youngest mayor in 100 years. So there's a generational thing going on here for sure. There's also, look, there's a factor of when you're mad at incumbents. In this case, Andrew Cuomo kind of feels like an incumbent. He was a governor for over 10 years. He's very well known in these parts, 100% name recognition. And so, the scene is set for an upset. You've got a young challenger who was 40 points behind, and then he was 20 points behind, and then he cut it to single digits. And then this poll this morning says that he's closing strong and could in fact surpass, or overtake Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, we talked about this Emerson poll that for the first time it shows him, Zoran Mamdani, out in front, and that was in the 8th round. You're saying maybe in the 1st round of the 7th round, you have information or polling that shows that, considering what is just happening now. Am I correct with that?
Well, yeah. I mean, here's how it works: is there's an alliance that was made between Mamdani and Brad Lander, the person who on your screen is in 3rd place. They both very formally announced just a few days ago. They said, if you want either of us, we both support each other. And that's how it works with ranked choice voting. When you get that, you'll have, like, let's say Lander's votes all drop out, which is what it shows here happening in round 7. The vast majority of those votes, if they do go to Mamdani, you basically have got kind of a combination there that exceeds whatever is going on with Cuomo. That's what they are projecting, and there's a sound basis for that projection. I mean, 4 years ago, Don, there was something similar that happened when a woman named Catherine Garcia, running for the very first time, was in an alliance with Andrew Yang. And they were right behind. They were both nipping at the heels of Eric Adams. And Catherine Garcia came within 7,000 votes of actually winning against somebody who had been in office for a long, long time. So, this is anybody's race. Anything could be happening here.
Okay, so then what does this mean in New York? I mean, it's because everyone's like, oh, crime, and we're going to get the homelessness. We got to do this. We got to do that. But it appears that affordability is really what's resonating with New Yorkers. And that is what Zoran Mamdani has run on. And also, folks are saying, Cuomo feels, and I don't mean that age-wise, old, meaning like old school, old guard.
Yes, that's right. I mean, look, there are a number of candidates. And again, the repetition and the fact that they're all saying it gives it a little bit of extra power that Mamdani is drawing on. A lot of candidates who are all running are saying, if you want the status quo, and they say status Cuomo, kind of thing. They're saying if you're doing things the old way and expecting new results, you're kidding yourself. That, yes, he's an expert in housing, but we have a housing crisis. Yes, he's been in office for a long time, but after that long time, here we are in a situation that we define as a crisis. Affordability, by the way, and I think we all learned this in the presidential race, Don, it really trumps a lot of issues, even public safety. Like you'll worry about public safety, but there's something you can do about it. Affordability, if you're getting ground down by inflation and you just can't afford the things that you really, really want, including food, that's a daily misery. That's a daily grind. And that really motivates people to just go after whatever incumbent they can take it out on, whether it's Joe Biden last year or quasi-incumbent Andrew Cuomo this year.
Let me ask you this, because well, first of all, the New York Magazine says the political class is at fault for Zoran Mamdani, and also is what happens when the status quo fails. They're saying that the political class is responsible for that. I'm not sure if you agree with that. Do you want to weigh in on it?
It's
yours. I'm going to say it's yours.
That's my column.
I know, that's why I said that.
That's my take on it.
There's a little jokey there.
My feeling is these people, I mean, look, Mike Bloomberg wrote a check for $5 million about 100 hours ago. He threw $5 million into an outside spending group. Another organization, I think it was the Apartment Association, landlords, they threw an extra $3 million in at the last minute. I'm simply making the point, like, guys, this same $20 million you're aiming at Mamdani now, this $5 million you're throwing into it at the last minute, this $3 million, why don't you spend more time sort of grooming a leadership class to run this city? There are a lot of young people who want to be successful public servants. They want to be politicians. They're trying to get into the game. They get no help from the county organizations. They get no funding from the big donors. Their ideas get laughed at or ignored. And then at the last minute, the elites are basically saying, oh, no, something's going wrong. Let's throw some money at it and try and stop this guy. It seems very wasteful to me. I mean, these are the people I work with every day. These young people can be spoken to. They could come up with centrist solutions that don't panic a lot of people. They should be encouraged. And the way things are set up in New York, they really never are. And that's how we got to where we are.
Oh, wow. It's a great article, Errol. And look, I just want to say that it's interesting to me, again, because the whole thing is, remember, crime, crime, crime. And that's what Republicans ran on during the election. Now, crime is important. It's an important issue, but it doesn't seem to be the issue that resonates. Now, look, I've been seeing all of these ads, Errol, recently, before I hadn't seen a lot of them, but I've been seeing a lot of political ads, and they are coming from Cuomo, hitting Zoran Mamdani as an anti-Semite. Okay. I just want to play a little bit. This is from The Bulwark. This is Tim Miller grilling him over the charges of anti-Semitism. Here it is.
I am someone who I would say am less comfortable with the idea of banning the use of certain words, and that I think it is more evocative of a Trump-style approach to how to lead a country. And I think especially when we've seen...
Sure, but like, does that just make you uncomfortable? Like the phrase globalized intifada, from the river to the sea, does that make you uncomfortable? Or do you think...
Okay, those are different. Those are super different.
They're not really.
Like different genres.
I'm sorry, I'm asking Zoran. Then they're not really different to me. And to some people, they're not different.
You know, I know people for whom those things mean very different things. And to me, ultimately, what I hear in so many is a desperate desire for equality and equal rights in standing up for Palestinian human rights. And I think
it goes on, but I don't know if he ever addresses it directly there, but it's certainly been the issue for him. Is it resonating?
It's been frustrating, to tell you the truth. I mean, look, frankly, if he underperformed, shall we say, when all of the dust settles, what you just saw will be one of the reasons. And I say this as somebody who's been around this stuff for a long time, live in Crown Heights, where Black-Jewish relations are literally a matter of life and death, like getting it right. And as a communicator, Don, if you're talking to certain people about issues that they really care about, and there's a word or a phrase that's going to trigger them, that's going to stop them from communicating, that's going to stop them from listening, that if nobody is happy about what is happening in Gaza, nobody, including in Israel. But if you use the word genocide, knowing that your audience or a certain portion of your audience is going to simply tune you out, you really have to ask yourself, it's like, is it really worth doing that? And if you choose to do that, like he said, he doesn't want to be sort of the word police. Okay, fine. But if you want to be mayor of this city, you're going to have to be a diplomat. And diplomacy requires making sure you are keeping lines of communication open. Mm-hmm. And just like you or me, just to use a homely example, if somebody wants to talk to me and starts dropping the N-word on me, the conversation's not going to continue.
It's over.
I mean, it's over. It's over. And so, you say globalize the intifada, you say genocide, you say these things that are going to shut people down. And I've asked him this. I said, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And so, look, if he goes any further, if he becomes the nominee, if he becomes the mayor of New York, that you can't succeed at leading this city if you're going to be stubborn on these kind of issues. You're going to have to be, like I said, a little bit of a diplomat.
Real quickly, before you go, I'm going to ask you, he has some work to do with the Black community. Is that correct? That's what I understand.
Yeah, it's funny. It's one of these ironies. He's actually African-American more than you and I. He's born in Uganda. He spent time in his childhood in South Africa. He majors in Africana studies, and somehow he's getting nowhere with Black voters. I can't figure it out.
Well, he's a more African-American. I think it's differently. That's like saying Elon Musk is more African-American.
Well, he's different. He's differently African-American. Yes.
Yeah. You think that is that going to help him or hurt him, or will that have any effect? It's
a challenge. He's going to have to fix it. I mean, I'm still, I think 2013 was the first year I ever saw when Bill de Blasio won more of the black vote than his closest black challenger, Bill Thompson. That was the first time I think that had ever happened. Certainly the first time I'd ever noticed it in 40 years of looking at this stuff. This is another case where the guy, is he black? I don't know, but he's definitely African born. Yeah. And it doesn't seem to be getting him much in the black community.
One more thing, because I know you have to go. Did you see Lisa Murkowski?
No.
Lisa Murkowski is saying, how quick is it? Let's roll the one for the 1 minute, and then we'll let Errol go. Play it, please.
Say Democrats win 3 seats in the next midterm election in the Senate, and they say, we're going to let you pass bills that benefit Alaskans if you caucus with us. You don't have to become a Democrat. You can be an independent, but if you caucus with us and provide the sort of 4th vote that we need to get from where we are now, and you can pass legislation that helps Alaskans, would you do it?
It's an interesting hypothetical. You've started off with the right hook here is if this would help Alaskans, because at the end of the day,
I know you.
Yeah, you do.
I've done my reading.
Yeah, see? This is why this book is kind of scary, because now people know what motivates me, and it's this love for Alaska and what I can do. So that's my primary goal. I have to figure out how I can be most effective for the people that I serve. That's why I'm going to continue to do a really hard job, because I want to try to help people. My problem with your hypothetical is that as challenged as I think we may be on the Republican side, I don't see the Democrats being much better, and they've got not only their share of problems, but quite honestly, they've got some.
But basically, I think she's saying that she would consider. Am I correct, producers? She's saying she would consider becoming a Democrat. Is that correct? That was the initial read on this.
Not a Democrat, but an
she would lead the GOP. She would caucus with it. So what does that mean? Sorry, Errol, I know you have to go, but quickly, if you can weigh in.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's similar to what Bernie Sanders does. He's not, technically he's not a Democrat. He's an independent. There are a couple of states where that's, how people ended up. And so, the fact, it's music to Chuck Schumer's ears. I suspect he already knew this. It's his business to know these things. And he'll probably, send a nice note to Lisa Murkowski and remind her that all things are possible, and we should look forward to the future.
Interesting. Okay, Errol, you're the best, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So who's your money on tomorrow? I know you can't do that as a political anchor.
I don't do that. I don't do it. I don't do it anymore because I'm not that good at it, to tell you the truth. I'm more interested in the reasons and the logic than the actual outcome.
Yeah. Errol, thank you. Errol is a
Thanks
political anchor for Spectrum News. Thank you very much, Errol Lewis. Great analysis there. Don't you guys think? Great analysis. Let me know what you think about the race in New York City, the race for mayor. It is a huge, huge, huge deal, and it could change the trajectory of the Democratic Party. It will definitely change the trajectory of the city, no matter who wins, really, because I think that I know Cuomo is going to be tougher on crime. He's going to be sort of the crime guy, maybe a more sort of centrist, center-right Democrat who's going to say, yeah, he's going to clean the streets up. He's going to take care of the homeless problem. He would be obviously kind of not necessarily polar opposites, but pretty close to Zoran Mamdani, who wants free buses for the folks here in New York City, more affordable. The tax base in New York, the wealthy people who pay most of the taxes here in New York City, they are concerned about a Mamdani mayor as mayor, because they're concerned that he's going to be soft on all those things that they find important that are quite honestly not being taken care of. And I got to tell you, I live in New York City. I live in a neighborhood that's pretty nice. It's not, the fanciest neighborhood in New York City. And, Tim and I are walking our dogs yesterday, and there are 2 people shooting up on the sidewalk in a nice neighborhood in New York City. So, and you see it a lot. And so that is a huge concern. And so I know affordability is an issue, but, don't discount that. And even, poor people who live, no matter where you live in New York City, no matter what borough, they are concerned about those kinds of things, and also their safety and affordability as well. Big issue here. Okay. So we're going to get to that. We're going to continue to watch that. And now we're going to get back to our news out of Iran and Washington. But first, here's a word from our sponsors. Support for the Don Lemon Show today comes from MSI United States. MSI United States. Look, you guys know how I feel about protecting girls and also bringing light to areas and stories that don't necessarily always get covered. And we know Africa doesn't get a lot of coverage as much as it deserves. So here's a hard cold fact. In sub-Saharan Africa, 4 million teenage girls drop out of school every year because they get pregnant, just like teenagers everywhere. They experiment sexually. So for many of these girls, there's no access to birth control. Most will never go back to school. Some will risk their lives trying to end the pregnancy. Too many will die. So the good news is there is an organization called MSI Reproductive Choices that is known for going to the ends of the earth to bring girls contraception and control over their futures. So if you want to help, you can make a donation. Here's what you do. Give today. Go to msiunitedstates.org. Text my last name, Lemon, to 511-511. Text Lemon to 511-511 for just $26. You can give a girl contraception for 4 years. That's 4 years to complete her education and build a future. Okay? Text Lemon to 511-511 or go to MSI. Go to MSI, that's M as in modern, S as in safe, I as in inform, unitedstates.org. That's msiunitedstates.org. Modern, safe, informed. So thank you very much for supporting MSI. Now back to the program. Let's see. I want to bring Jolly back in and the bags and stuff as well. I want to bring Jolly back in. Jolly, thank you for joining us. Jolly, you with the breaking news on top of it. Here's what was interesting is that the strike that took place on Iran, that Iran had to retaliate to save face. That's what they're saying, to save face. Why are they having to retaliate just to save face? And the question I asked at the beginning of the program was, is this going to ratchet up the tensions between Iran and the U.S. or Israel, or is it going to mark the end of a conflict between the U.S. and Iran?
It's not going to mark the end of a conflict. I mean, you and Errol were just having a conversation about how things have just continued to be the same for so long, and people are looking for something new. It's also true in this conversation. I mean, the conversation of Iran having nuclear weapons and Iran being the biggest threat to stability in the Middle East, these are all talking points straight out of Israel. These are Israel's talking points that we've adopted in America, and they're not going anywhere. And I don't know how many people were paying attention to it when it happened, but yesterday, Israel put out a statement that they're interested in a ceasefire with Iran. But that conversation happened after the United States had already dropped missiles on nuclear facilities. And so it's like it's this whole, what? You want a ceasefire now when tensions just escalated? But now, less than 24 hours later, we're hearing Donald Trump say, well, their response to us was weak. They didn't hurt anybody. So we win. But you know what? Here's what I liken that to, Don. I liken that to me driving my car drunk, crashing the car, but then feeling good about myself because nobody got injured, thankfully. Because that's what Donald Trump just did. He escalated tensions in the region. He caused missiles to be fired at our U.S. service members, right? This is the party that says they're the patriots. We love the soldiers, support the troops. But missiles were just fired at our troops because of the actions of Donald Trump. But he's screaming victory because nobody was injured. That's why I found it important to remind everyone that this same thing happened the last time he was president, and people did get injured. Over 100 Army soldiers were injured the last time missiles were fired at U.S. service members because Donald Trump ratcheted up tensions in Iran. And those soldiers were ignored. In fact, Donald Trump told those soldiers that those were just headaches and that they were just making too much ado about it. So now fast forward to now. Because in this case, nobody was injured, we're calling it a victory. And Don, the fucking most hilarious part about it that everybody needs to remember, the reason our troops are safe, the reason nobody was injured is in no part due to the actions of the United States. We didn't protect our own soldiers or our own airmen. We didn't protect our air bases. Qatar did. So if the Qatari government didn't take actions to shoot those missiles out of the sky. Our soldiers, our airmen are hit with them. Our air bases are hit with them. So I guess the takeaway from this is this. Donald Trump ratcheted up tensions in the region. Donald Trump put our service members at risk, and the Qatari government saved them. And now Donald Trump's screaming victory. We win. I'm the president of peace. It's a joke. This can't be real life.
Well, it is real life, Jolly. It is real life. And look, I'm wondering how are the troops feeling about this? Because here's what they're doing. I don't know if you've noticed the strategy. In order to, quail the criticism from the administration, what they're doing is, saying, oh, these guys were great. The guys who did the mission were great, and they refueled in midair, and they only made the stop that they had to, and they went and they hit these precision targets. That's what they do all the time. That's what they're trained for. That's why they are the best. They are excellent, right? And so, yes, of course, we love our men and women in uniform, right? They protect our country. Sometimes they make the ultimate sacrifice. But is that really what this is about?
Listen, first of all, I don't want to speak, for all active duty service members as a whole, because just like no community is a monolith, neither are active duty soldiers members or service members or veterans. We're not monolithic in nature. So what I'm about to say, there's going to be veterans who disagree with me. There's going to be active duty service members that disagree with me. But let me say emphatically, there are people who agree with me that are actively serving our military right now. There are people in uniform right now that are asking themselves, what the hell are we doing over here? Because as much as Donald Trump wants to downplay this right now, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines were sent over there prior to this strike on nuclear facilities. Why? Because it was very well known that this may escalate to the point of boots on ground. We sent service members over there. I've spoken directly to service members who were sent over there just last week. And what they're saying is this is not what I signed up for. We just got out of 20 plus years of war in the Middle East. And guess what? I think this is part of the story that we need to make sure doesn't go away. I think Donald Trump, to a degree, caved because he was losing his people. His people were saying, you know what? If this is what you're going to do, if you're going to go to war with Iran, then we're out. No more MAGA for me.
Wait, caved? What do you mean caved? Because I mean, they struck and then Iran struck back.
Yeah, but what's now Donald Trump's saying, okay, it's over. That was it.
That there's going to be no more engagement. I'm done.
Yeah, that's what he's already signaling that. If you look at his previous three, he just posted, it was like an hour ago. So at 4:00, he posted the tweet that we had up earlier. And then he, again, just before we went live, he posted another one where he was based. I don't know if we have this one yet available for the screen.
Guys, get the new one. We'll put the new one up. Jolly.
But it basically says something along the lines of, congratulations on this new era of peace, or some radical idea like that. And this is obviously the propaganda that he's trying to spin. But anybody who buys that, I would like to interest you in this beautiful beachfront property I have in Tucson, Arizona, because listen, this is not over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you would like to have them gauge their interest in the building behind you that you'd like to sell them for $2, which is the United States Capitol.
Well, listen, it won't be long. Donald Trump will have this on eBay. All right. So.
Well, and then someone said, I'm surprised I haven't seen the White House on, what is it, Zillow yet, or whatever it is.
Yeah, right. What's the Zestimate for the Oval Office? There it is. Congratulations, world. It's time for peace. This is laughably, comically propaganda. I don't know. I'm old, and I remember The Wizard of Oz. I was a kid. We used to watch The Wizard of Oz, and there's one scene from The Wizard of Oz that's always stood out to me. And I've used it as an analogy 1,000 times, and I think it's the perfect analogy now. Pay no mind to the man behind the curtain. Remember, they're talking to the great and wonderful Oz, and they notice there's a guy behind the curtain that's controlling Oz, and the Oz isn't real. And that's what Donald Trump's trying to do now. We've peeped behind the curtain. We've seen what it is, and he's trying to tell us, no. That's not what it really is.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think three things were accomplished here. Number one, we haven't talked about the Epstein files for at least a week. Number two, he got everybody to stop criticizing him for just a minute. And number three, this is the part that I think in the next 7 days, Don, you and I are going to be talking about this part a lot. He just created an environment where we can now ratchet up these ICE engagements in America. Think about that. He just created an environment where sleeper cells are in America, and Iran is that their rocket attack was just a dog and pony show. Their real attack is these sleeper cells in America. What do these sleeper cells look like? Right.
And using the border as as a way to change the messaging, like, oh, the border, we don't know how many people got over, but they are masters at marketing. Jolly, I want you to stand by. I want to bring in two folks here to also help us out. The Honorable, as you see her up on your screen, and that is Nina Turner. She's a former Ohio State Senator and the co-host of the group chat on Two-Way. Also joining, Taylor Lorenz. Taylor Lorenz is a veteran tech journalist and the author of the User Mag Substack. Welcome, one and all. So glad that you're here. Nina Turner. Hey, welcome to this new era. How you doing, boo? Welcome to this new era of peace. Say your piece.
It's insanity. I mean, we can't bomb our way to peace. You can't war our way to peace. That ain't how peace works. So this, and I love how it was a Jolly put out there, the Wizard of Oz analogy. If we, there are a lot of people said peace through strength, that America is so strong we can force peace. So if we are so strong and we can force peace, we are an epic fail, because so far our type of strength has not provided for peace, particularly in the Middle East. And my heart aches, Don, and to the Lemon Nation, the Lemon Heads. It aches for the people who just have this cavalier attitude about sending other folks' family members into war. This is a class issue, because the people who are going to be hurt the most are working class people from all backgrounds, while the war hawks in both parties are going to make out like bandits. And no American wants to get a knock at the door saying that your loved one has been maimed or injured in other ways or killed. So I just don't understand how and I'm saying the collective we, could just take such a cavalier attitude about sending people to war. Where's the diplomacy? We need to operate in that light most of all. So this is immoral, what is happening. And President Donald J. Trump is ill-equipped. He lied when he ran. He ran as a faux populist. He said Biden got us into wars. I will be an anti-war president. And my God, are we barely 6 months in? And look at what he's doing.
Well, they're still blaming Biden for this, saying it was Biden, their terrible policies. It was their open door at the borders. And what is he also saying? Saying, oh, this is different. When asked about, Taylor, what happened to the whole, I'm going to be a peace president, I'm going to get us out of forever wars, I care about Muslim lives. And then now they said, well, that all changed because, we had dumb presidents before. That's part of their rationale, Taylor Lorenz.
I mean, it's delusional. I don't think that we've ever had a super peace forward president, at least in my lifetime. I think that both the Democratic and Republican Party has shown a willingness to engage in way more of war than I think a lot of Americans want. But the idea that, Trump would be somehow more peaceful than Biden is delusional. Also, the idea that he cares about Muslim lives is delusional. I mean, both Trump and Biden have facilitated a genocide in Gaza that is still ongoing. And I think that
absolutely,
it's horrific, and we need to cut ties with Israel. We need to pursue strategies of peace, and we don't need to entangle America up in these ridiculous foreign wars.
So just so this isn't a big agree fest, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate. So, and Nina and Jolly, when you do that, the people in the chat come at you. They're like, why? What are you saying? When you play devil's advocate, it's not necally what you believe. It's, you know what I'm saying?
It's to break up the echo chamber a little bit.
Oh my gosh. But you would think, like, when I do that, I think someone's going to come and try to arrest me. Some liberal.
Don, the internet hates nuance. That's not nuance in the internet.
No, but, and I think I heard you speak about this, Nina. I have family in the military, and they are joyful or happy that we're doing this because Iran is a state sponsor of terrorism. They throw people off buildings. They don't like gay people. And all of those things may be true, yet and still, you say.
Don, I say that Iran is a sovereign nation. And so while the humanitarian in me aches for anybody anywhere that can't live their best fabulous life, before we start throwing stones at somebody else, let us not forget that the LGBTQ plus community feels put upon right here in the good old United States of America.
That part.
Let us
That
not
part.
forget that there are elders still alive whose parents had to endure on the chocolate side, as Dr. West would say, the degradation and dehumiliation of Jim and Jane Crow or their parents' parents. Let us not forget that this is the same country in the summer of 1919, the red summer of 1919, in the 20th century, where Black people were attacked in major cities all over this country. Let us not forget that there were 4 elders still alive. I think there's only one left from Black Wall Street, who were kids when white terrorists came and tore through their community and took their stuff. Let us not forget, this is the same nation where George Floyd was lynched on TV. This is the same nation where you have elected officials, primarily men, who feel like they can tell a woman what to do with her bodily autonomy. So again, there's no doubt that in Iran, the government is not comporting itself towards its people in a humanitarian way. But my God, for the love of God, how about we check ourselves over here in the United States of America before we wreck ourselves? 68,000 people die every year because they have no health insurance, and millions more are underinsured. People are putting insulin on credit cards. And Dare Jolly made a point about the man behind the curtain. Don't look at him, because now we're no longer talking about the 14 million people who are going to be kicked off Medicaid. So Don, I'm with it. I'm not cheerleading for the extremist government of Iran. But what I'm saying, United States of America, let's get our own house in order first. We are not a moral actor in any of this.
You know what,
Taylor,
Don?
you know what? Hang on 1 second, Charlie. Taylor, you know what they do to women in Iran. They can't wear cover, not everywhere. People don't understand that. Women don't have rights. By the way, Iran has, I think, or is it Tehran? Iran has the highest, they have a higher literacy rate than the United States, by the way. I'm just saying, but go on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, women don't have rights in America in many states anymore. I mean, what Nina said is 100% correct. Is the regime in Iran problematic? And would I appreciate if there was more human rights generally for women and LGBTQ people in Iran? Sure, but we are currently dismantling rights for women here in America. We are currently watching this administration dismantle rights for LGBTQ people. And it's incredibly harmful, these people to say, oh, in Palestine or in Iran, they throw gay people off buildings. Like, what are you talking about? Again, we are witnessing record LGBTQ, violence against trans people right here in America. And when you say those statements, not you, but just these people online of like they or Iranians, there's a huge difference between a government and its people. And I think Nina made a really good point, right? Like, no one here is defending the actions of an authoritarian government abroad, but ultimately it's a sovereign nation. And, we don't need to go in and bomb them as some sort of like liberation movement. Because again, the reason that government is in power already is because of US meddling, in decades past. Bombing innocent women and children is not going to liberate them. It's just going to death and destruction.
Let me ask you this: is this similar to not giving due process in some way to the folks that they round up here to prove that they are actually have a criminal record? Because we don't know, right? And they're not giving you the evidence. But I'm wondering if this is a similar thing where you're not necessarily fighting for people who have criminal records or people who have done bad deeds, but there's a certain way that we do things in America, usually a diplomatic and constitutional way. And the war, as if they're not, when they're rounding up people, that's not constitutional, that's not diplomatic. And then they're going to war without, imposing, what is it, the War Act or whatever, or
there's no due process. It's just
right. So it's a similar thing. The Trump administration is just running roughshod over the democracy and the Constitution.
Yeah, and I think that we need to have a discussion. We need to have Congress involved, and We need to, we would love if Democrats like Chuck Schumer didn't try to goat Trump into war. I think we have a lot of warmongers on both sides of the aisle, which is terrifying. But I don't think the American people want to go to war. We're sick of war in the Middle East. I mean, that was sort of the many people my age, millennial and younger, that's our first sort of political awakening, was watching watching what America did in Iraq. It's abhorrent. So I think, whether it's dealing with the immigration situation or, foreign wars abroad, whatever, we have processes for these. We're supposed to be a democracy. We should focus on protecting the rights and civil liberties of marginalized people in our own country before lecturing some country halfway around the world about theirs.
Yeah, Jolly, I want you to jump in. Sorry, because I wanted to make sure we got the woman question in to Taylor. Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say to Nina's point and to Taylor's point, okay, we can agree there's a problem somewhere, but if you're a hammer, I guess the only solution to every problem you have is to hit something. I mean, this is not the answer. So first of all, the Republican Party is the last people that should be talking about human rights violations anywhere, as both of these guests pointed out. Our human rights violations are happening right here in America. Secondly, we always have enough money to drop 13, 14 bombs in the country. But if I bring up universal health care, it's how we're going to pay for it. In America, diabetes is literally a death sentence. If you can't afford insulin, you die in America. In America, being trans is literally illegal. We talk about what is illegal in America, being trans currently. So I don't want to hear anything from the Republican Party about what happens to the LGBTQI plus community, what human rights happen. Women, didn't we just witness in Georgia? Oh, I mean, egregiously so. A woman kept alive on life support to have a baby. I mean, this is disgusting what's happening in America. And if America ever saw what was happening in America, America would come and liberate America from America. So we need to stop bombing other countries. We need to stop spending hundreds of millions of dollars on bombs. And I, by the way, as an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran, those were occupations. We never should have been in those countries. What happened to those countries is gross. And only thing I hear every time we talk about Iran is I hear Iraq 2.0. That's the only thing I hear. So any of these excuses that they're trying to make up to justify what we did in Iran, any of these excuses is going to come forward in the next coming days where Donald Trump's going to try to tell us he ushered in an era of peace. It's all bullshit. There was two goals in this: distract us from everything happening here so we stop talking about him, and give us more reason in the coming days to roll up more people. Because, by the way, I think Islamophobia just got a reintroduction in America by way of sleeper cells. So be ready for it.
Stand by, everyone. And Nina, I'm coming to you after this, but I got to pay the bills, guys. So stand by 1 second. I'm going to take a quick ad break and then we'll be right back. So look, you guys, everyone's asking me, Don, what are you doing? Why do you look so good? I know they're laughing in the background. What Tim, my husband says, nobody's asking that. Yes, they are. Stop it. Give me a little something, a little credit for something. No, but they are. I've lost weight. I've been doing lean. And also I've been doing this stuff. It's called 120 Life. Okay. And it can help you with your blood pressure. It helps to regulate your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your blood levels, all of that. Okay. Did you know that high blood pressure is the #1 risk factor for mortality? 1 in 2 adults has it. That's a 50-50 chance that you're a walking time bomb. Okay. But here's the good news, that you can take control of your blood pressure naturally without relying on Big Pharma. 120 Life is a blend of great tasting superfood juices that have been shown to actually help lower your blood pressure. It's not just for high blood pressure. It's also beneficial, as I said, for other health conditions like diabetes. 120 Life is trusted by healthcare professionals with hundreds of doctors recommending it to help manage blood pressure naturally. It provides visible, measurable changes in blood pressure, and you can use a simple monitor at home to track progress. For a limited time, try 120 Life. You can save 20% off. Just use the code DON at checkout at 120life.com. 120 Life offers a risk-free trial with a full refund if you don't see lower numbers in 2 weeks. So look, what do you have to lose? Go to 120life.com and use the code DON to save 20% off. There's nothing to lose except for your high blood pressure numbers. So go to 120life.com and use the code DON to save 20% off. And remember, you must use the code DON to get your special offer. This is serious. This is your life we're talking about. 120 Life can help. So thank you. You know what, y'all? It's doing stuff, in my home studio and having somebody here, the peanut gallery. Let's bring our guest back on. Having the peanut gallery to weigh in saying, nobody's asking you that. Nobody did that to me when I was in the big shiny studio. They all just looked at me like, yeah, right. They didn't say a word. So Nina, where do we go from here? Sleeper cells. It's the border. We're in an era of peace. What the American people are concerned, and they have every right to be. So where do we go from here?
And I mean, we need one of these parties to have some type of sanity and not be the warmonger. Taylor's point about it's both parties, and it really is. And so somebody got to stand up. I mean, you got Leader Hakeem Jeffrey going to ask the question about Representative Ro Khanna and Representative Massey's resolution, saying he ain't even looked at it yet. Well, what do you mean, sir? You haven't looked at it yet? So I think the American people have to really come together based on what we have in common. And what we have in common right now is that we want to live. We need more of our money spent domestically to live up to the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. We need folks who are more in the peace corner than they're in the warmongering corner. And we got to call out these elected officials regardless of party. This ain't about party. This is about who is on the side of working class people and who is not, period. And we do need some of that old school 1950s, 1960s civil rights, labor rights, the faith-based community. I can hear Reverend Dr.
Nina, there we go. It's back, Nina.
Yeah, but internet is down here in Cleveland, Ohio. So my apologies, lemon heads, about the glitches. My internet is down. But we really need the people to stand up and say that not on our watch will we continue to sit idly by and allow our leaders to to sell us a bill of goods. Ultimately, it is us, because it's not going to come from most of them people who are in elected office, because they've been to the wheel of the corporatists and the war hawks. And somebody, Don, it's not people in places like Cleveland, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, or name your city. They making a whole lot of money. War makes money, but it kills working class people.
Hey, Taylor, let me ask you. So who is actually really in charge here? Is it Donald Trump or is it Benjamin Netanyahu, who for about 30 years now, at least, has been saying, Iran is this close to a nuclear weapon. Iran, it's around the corner. It's a day. It could be a day, a week. It could be a year. It could be, and it has been 30 years. And
it's deranged. And I think obviously Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel as a whole is exerting far too much political influence over Trump and our political system as a whole. I think that we need to completely cut ties with Israel. Israel is a genocidal terrorist state, as far as I'm concerned. They have been committing genocide in Gaza for over 2 years. But let's not forget the subjugation of the Palestinians that has gone on for decades and decades and decades. This is an apartheid country that does not grant equal rights to all citizens. And I don't think that we should be sending them any sort of weapons. I don't think that we should support such an unjust political system. And I think that it's very disturbing that so many of our political leaders seem to just completely operate on Benjamin Netanyahu's beck and call.
How do you completely cut ties with Israel, though? I mean, is that even realistic?
Yeah, it is realistic. I mean, I think that we could start by not shipping them, weapons. That would be a great start. We know that those weapons are being used to commit genocide in Gaza. We could start by completely not arming them. I mean, obviously, I would like to see things go further than that, but I think at the very least, we could stop facilitating the genocide and put pressure on the government to find a more diplomatic solution.
A quick question for you. Go ahead, Jolly.
It goes back to the conversation you had with Errol just earlier. We need new leadership. All the old leaders who've been doing things the old way, I agree. The Democratic Party is completely ineffective. It is frustrating. This is where I spend a lot of my time, right here in that building. I spend a lot of my time in that building talking to members of Congress, talking to senators, members of the House and senators. And I'm like, do you listen to yourself? I mean, during these interviews, I just call them out. Are you listening to yourself? But I'm going to tell you who brings me hope, who fires me up every time I speak to them. It's these young members of Congress who are fired up with new ideas, the Maxwell Frost, the Jasmine Crockett's. When you get in there and you talk to these young members who are bringing in new ideas, this is why everybody's seeing Mamdani in the New York mayoral race make this boom to the front of the pack here because people want new ideas. And let me give you a new idea that's not that radical and crazy. Cut ties with Israel. Here's the only reason that we keep this. The only reason our ties with Israel are so strong, because it's been built into American foreign policy for decades. And if we let the old people stay in charge, and I don't mean old by age, I mean the old guard. If we let the old guard stay in charge, then yeah, we're never going to cut ties with Israel. Then Bibi Netanyahu does call the shots.
I got to tell you, Nina, that is a concern for a lot of folks here in New York City, what Jolly is saying and what Taylor is saying, that the possibility, I don't know if that will ever come to fruition here, but they're afraid of people having that discussion openly. And what they're saying is, Nina, is that if Mamdani does win this first round, I mean, look, here's the thing. If he wins this first round, it's not just mean that he's mayor, right? Because Cuomo has enough money, he's going to run in the general anyways, right? And Mamdani's going to run in the general anyways. He's got enough support. But it is a test, and I think an indication of where New Yorkers are going and possibly where the Democratic Party is going. The concern that I hear from Jewish folks here is that if Mamdani wins, he gets $1 billion of free ads, and he becomes a national figure. And this type of conversation about cutting ties, divesting in Israel becomes a national conversation, and it could gain traction.
I mean, we should have allies. I'm not so sure about cutting ties. I mean, they can be an ally, but I definitely agree with Taylor in that the weapons, we should not be sending weapons for genocide. If somebody is your ally, they have an obligation to not get you into trouble all the time too. And so the state of Israel, Netanyahu himself, needs to comport himself in a way that shows that he is a true ally to the United States of America. And our president needs to show that he is the president of the United States of America. To put on the back of Mamdani, that I think that's just xenophobia, or excuse me, Islamophobia, just percolating. This man is standing up on a human rights economy. He's standing up for justice and love and peace for all New Yorkers, and being the mayor of a city. He's not running foreign policy. So for anybody to put that on him in a disproportionate way, I think it's wrong. He hasn't run on any kind of he's not anti-Israel. He's not anti-Semitic. He's centering the people, whether they're Jewish or Black.
Well, they're framing him as anti-Semitic here. The Cuomo is, and
yeah, but see, Cuomo's wrong on that, Don. We know what he's doing. That's called desperation. That is wrong.
Yeah, it's cheap shot.
That man has not done or said anything, and when he's asked the question, he said he's running for New Yorkers. He's not. First of all, he's not on the federal level, and two, to ask him to sacrifice local people for a foreign country. That's what happened in my race, sisters and brothers, Lemonheads, in 2021. When I was asked to put Israel over the knees of the people in Ohio 11th District. And they came at me with everything they got down, as you remember. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
So Mamdani, I just think that is a false fear that is being percolated out there by Cuomo and some others. And some Jewish Americans may have a legitimate concern because of the propaganda. But Judge Mamdani, by his actions and by how he is running, and not on some other campaign trying to smear him. If he wins, he is the mayor of New York and should answer to New Yorkers and not to a foreign country. That's not unreasonable. Is that unreasonable?
Beaky in the chat says we are tired of the mayor of New York shouldn't be focusing on Israel more than New York. And he was just saying the same thing. I have a very good, before I let any of you get out of here, because I know it's getting close to the top of the hour. Very good question for my producers. They said, ask Nina and Taylor, is it weird for them to be, what did they say? To be agreeing with Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and others. Strange times make strange bedfellows. I'll let you go first, Nina, and then Taylor.
Oh, yes. You tell the crew. Yes. I mean, my world is all upside down. When I'm retweeting Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman, or Congressman Thomas Massey, okay, I had to get on my knees, okay, and talk to Black Jesus with the sandals on to understand what is happening.
I'm going to send you, look, you have a little cocktail every now and then, right, Nina?
I do not, Don, but you get sparkling water. But I'm gonna get some of that.
I'm going to send you this so you can have it with your sparkling water. I'm going to send you this,
Okay.
and you can do your sparkling water in the Lemon Live
In
glass
there.
right inside. There
Or
you
I'm
go.
gonna put my 120 life in there because I wrote down the code. I'm gonna order that.
Oh, dude, you got to get. Sorry to call you dude, but you got to. I'm telling you, it works. I'm not kidding you.
I'm gonna get
Taylor,
it, baby. I'm gonna get it.
You agreeing with MTG?
I mean, look, I just think that that it shows that nobody wants to go to war. There are a lot more Republicans that are also anti-war. This is a belief system. You know, I think it just shows how bipartisan this sentiment is. And so I hope politicians and people in Washington can listen to the people. And I would love Tucker and Marjorie Taylor Greene to educate themselves on more issues. Wait until they find out, what's happening to trans people and other stuff in this country. They might be appalled.
All right, don't hold your breath, Taylor. I'm just saying.
One thing at a time.
Here's my thing. It's just easy. And I'll just say it like in the vernacular where everybody can understand it. It was cute in the beginning when they were like, oh, going against him and they were holding Ted Cruz. But shouldn't they have known better? Aren't they smart enough, especially Tucker Carlson and what's her name, Candace Owens? Aren't they intelligent enough to realize that Donald Trump is a liar? That Donald Trump is not going to he doesn't care about anybody but himself. And now all of a sudden they're like, he lied to us about freedom of speech on college campuses. He lied to us about war. It's like,
it's fake outrage, Don. They
of course.
They're as selfish as he is. They were spinning what message was benefiting them until it wasn't. And as soon as it wasn't benefiting them, now it was fake outrage. He's a liar. They knew he was a liar the whole time.
They knew he was a liar.
Part of that is true, Jolly and Don. But another part of me wants to say, when people do see the light, even if it's on one or two issues,
I agree.
Welcome, because isn't that what we want people to ultimately do? If people see the
Dolly,
light,
we just had this conversation, didn't we?
Yes, I just don't believe them. I don't believe they saw the light.
I get it, Jolly. I get it.
Because Nina, yes, I agree with you so wholeheartedly, and that's why listen, as soon as this whole election happened, people jumped on this. If you voted for Donald Trump, and my whole thing has been the whole time, I'm not going to take that approach. If you want to cross over and say I got it wrong, come over. But I don't think Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene crossing over.
Yeah,
I think they're just putting on a show because they got burnt.
Taylor is optimistic. She has a glass that is half full, and you guys, guys. Thank you so much to Jolly Good Ginger. He is our chief Washington correspondent here. Errol Lewis, who was on earlier, the political anchor for Spectrum News. Nina Turner is a former Ohio State senator and a co-host of the group chat on Two-Way. You should watch her. It's great. Also, Taylor Lorenz is a veteran tech journalist and the author of User Mag, the User Mag Substack. Hey, Taylor, let's do a Substack together soon, okay?
I'm on YouTube too now, Don.
Okay, well, let's hang. Let's do some stuff. Nina, if you're on Substack or whatever, come on.
I am.
I'm gonna have to come on Two-Way. All right.
Yeah, we would love that, Don. Okay, I'm gonna bug your crew about that. I'm going to order as soon as I get up. I'm ordering that 120 light, baby.
All right, I got this for you guys, though. I'm telling you, it's good.
Cannot wait.
It's good. And then I have this. This is just in. To the Don Lemon.
Oh, rock that. Yes.
How's that?
Please.
Taylor, look up. I know Taylor's got to go. Look at this. You want one, Taylor? You got to go.
Oh my God, I love it. I need it. I need the merch.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Soon. All right, appreciate it. Thanks so much. What a great group. That was a great show. So, anyways, guys, look how we informed you without being crazy and the false equivalence or any of that stuff. So here's a glass. I've been having a little bit of a drinky drink here, but check that out. Isn't that great? Don't you love that sound? And of course we have this, right? That's been on the site. This is our merch store. We can put up our merch thing. And there we go. That is, how do I do this? We can leave this up full. I want people to see it, Andy, first, and then we'll get it. Why can't I can't do this. Oh crap. I'm not very good. Oh, there it is. And then we have that one here. All right. And then, so that glass is amazing. We've got this that I showed you. I love this. Lemon Nation. Again, all of this stuff is available on you can go to, check this out. Remember we had the smaller beach bags? Now you've got the bigger beach bag, and this one is very subtle and it's very cool. And look, I mean, it's got the longer straps. It's great for the beach or carrying groceries or whatever it is. And it's big. It's a big one. And then we've got, this is a sort of the medium-sized one. Check that out. Look at that. That is here. I like that one. It's a Don Lemon show. And then, yeah, it's a medium size. It's got great straps or whatever. Good stuff. And then we got the smaller one, which is a good little tote, especially for anyone but the kids that can carry their stuff in if they want. And then this one is, look at that. I'm watching Lemon Live at 5. I'm a lemon head. Isn't that cool? Yeah. And that's the smaller one. So good stuff. And of course, we have the t-shirts that you saw. And then now let's put up the website. I can leave this up. So there is our merch website. So you can go, you can get that. By the way, this sweatshirt, this is actually, it's more of like a summer, spring, fall weight. It's like you can wear this in the summer because it's light. It's not a big giant sweatshirt. So like if there's a cool summer night, you can wear it. And I can't wait to get all the other shirts. Like that pink shirt is the shit. I love it. And so also go check out your fan. But anyway, guys, I appreciate it. Look, and this, I can't wait to get those too. Those are the ones I can't wait to get, the turn the TV off ones. And then the old people be knowing. I don't have that yet. So guys, go check out our merch. It's on. If you go to donlemon.com, go to donlemon.com, go to donlemon.com. And the merch, can we pull up donlemon.com, please, when you get a second, please, Andy? Pull up donlemon.com, and then you can go and just click on merch, and you'll find it there. You can also go to donlemon.com, and you can click on any of the sites if you want to watch the program that's on now. Click on watch. Are we on there? If you put watch on there, are we up? Yeah, there we go. And so it's right there, and there you see what we're doing now, and we're live. And then if you back out of that and you go on donlemon.com, and you go to merch, you click on merch, and there it is. That's our merch store. So you can go right there, or you can go to on our show page on YouTube and do it as well. Okay. So I love this stuff. Wow. What a great job we did with this. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Isn't that fantastic? All right. Even the dog likes it, but that is very sweet. Check that out. I mean, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Lemon Live with Don Lemon. Okay, guys. So look, become a member, subscribe. Also, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you hit the like. It is important that you become a member and that you subscribe because that's how we stay on these streaming streets. We don't have the big corporate sponsors, and we rely on the kindness of strangers. And so we have our private member show tonight, members only show tonight. And then I got to rush over to City Winery where I was late, but I got on time. I don't know how I did that. So I was over at City Winery rehearsing for the show tonight with D.L. Hughley. City Winery tonight. Maybe they'll standing room only. Maybe someone will have tickets. Maybe someone won't show up and you can get in. But at City Winery tonight, the show is at 8 p.m. and it's DL and DL, Don Lemon and D.L. Hughley. Anything goes. Okay. So as I always say, you can be informed without being inundated. Okay. And you can be informed without being inundated. And you don't have to sit in front of the TV all day and be outraged. Go enjoy your life. Go live your life. Go get some merch. Go get a mug. Go have a cocktail. Go do something and enjoy your life. Okay. And then we'll bring you what you need to know tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time for Hot Topics. Okay. But until we see you at 10 a.m., turn the TV off. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.